I truly have nothing against aliens.
This is good because there might be a couple.
I'm convinced that the universe is filled with life. I can't see any other reason for it. It's a giant theatre for the experience of life. But do I need to propose an interstellar spacefaring civilization which had mastered the technology to cross interstellar space and to come to the end? Do I need them in order to explain the pyramids? No, I don't. What I need is to revise my understanding of the prehistory of the Earth, and that we always have a capacity to in a way, the thing that annoys me about the whole alien argument is, first of all, it's extremely materialist. It reduces everything to math, and secondly, it projects us onto them, onto the outer. So to take the 1970s NASA technology and apply that to the aliens. So the absurd notions that Nazca lines were landing strips for aliens. What's absurd about that notion is that if you can cross interstellar space, you don't need a landing strip. You absolutely don't need a landing strip. So, and there's so many examples like that. So I find it an impoverished idea, which is lacking in any depth. Oh, here's a mystery, aliens. Oh, here's another mystery, aliens in that as well. It's too easy. It's too simple. And then the final thing, which is in the deeply altered states of consciousness, for example, brought on by ayahuasca, or smoking a tea, or psilocybin, we do meet entities and intelligences. And the very first people to dismiss that as having anything to do with the ancient alien idea are the ancient astronaut seers themselves, because they don't want it to be anything to do with consciousness. That's too normal for them. They're almost more materialist than the most materialist members of the mainstream. The idea that we may be encountering these entities.
Whew. All right. Sorry. I'm here. I had to pee. All right, there we go. Boom, I'm here. I had to pee. I was listening to Graham Hancock. Got to pee sometime. Good morning, everybody. Happy Columbus Consciousness Day. Happy Columbus Day, everybody. Yay! This is one of my favorite days of the year. Everybody who hates Columbus, who are proudly voting for colonization, who are proudly fighting over what do we do with all the resources from modern colonization, all the hypocrites. I love today. You know why I love today? I'm off running my mouth. I love today because it's a good reminder to us that environment is everything. Everything. We can't judge people from 300 years ago because we're doing it today happily. Damn it, I want healthcare. What does everybody want to do with their Christopher Columbus spoils? The ones that corporations let you use, huh? What you doing with your spoils? You want healthcare? What you want? Universal basic income? What are you going to do with what they've robbed and killed the pagans for? You want a wall? What you want? They got everything. Can't judge anybody. You can't judge anybody. Good morning, everybody. Well, today's Christopher. Did I get the day wrong? I thought today was Columbus Consciousness Day. Did I get the name wrong? Hold on. Christine, you got me. You probably way out there on the farm. Let me check my schedule. Let me check my colonizer schedule. Hold on. Wait. Today is wait a minute. It says Columbus. What's the 14th? Maybe on my calendar. I'm looking at my colonizer calendar. Maybe this means Columbus. Is that a football team? Is Columbus a football team? Did I get the day wrong? Today gonna be it's gonna be not Christ Consciousness Day. It's gonna be Columbus Consciousness Day. I don't care what it. No, it's Columbus Day. Christine, what you got, a life or something? Christine got a life. I don't know why you let people who have lives around here. We're the ones who have no lives. We want to save the planet. But you know what? I was in a great conversation last night. Happy Christopher Consciousness Day, everybody. I was in a good conversation. It's like the world doesn't want to change. Is changing the world the way you want it to be, but the majority of people don't want it to change? Is that violence? I think it is. That's why I don't believe in violence. I believe in consciousness. I think we have to find our consciousness. We have to find our sentientness. We have to find our empathy. We have to just keep moving forward, keep educating yourself, keep empathizing with the people you educate yourself about until you get to a point where you have no axes to grind. And when you got no axes to grind, then we're getting somewhere. But until then, I can say everybody needs to be a hippie around the world. That's what I believe, but it's violence if I force that on people. Just because you have 10% doesn't mean it should happen. You know, that's why I love the model for the world. There we go. There goes a heart. I need some angry faces though. Come on, everybody. How was the weekend? What did I miss? Anything good? Let me see. If I don't show up one week, y'all keep on having a little heart issue. Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Brother John. Let's get that. Everybody say a word for Brother John. But yeah, we keep moving. We keep moving. But it's got to be sustainable. That's why I say you got to stop and breathe sometimes. Sometimes you got to stop and get some palpitations in the heart. You got to, whatever you got to do. If it's cannabis, ayahuasca, little beer, you know, you got to do what you got to do. Take a moment out, meditation, you know, listen to Bob Marley, Peter Tosh, somebody who they killed, who was trying to save the world. You know, I was looking at Peter Tosh, right? Because I was interested, and he and Bob Marley died not too far. Well, they didn't die; they were murdered. They were murdered by Columbus World. But it was interesting to hear the story. I didn't watch the documentary, but I was listening to, I guess it was a lecture talk, something like that, online. And they were kind of explaining that the song. You ever heard the song "Punky Reggae"? You know where that came from? You know where punky reggae came from? It's when Bob Marley went to Britain. I know that's where you say all the bad people are. Nah, there's bad people everywhere. There's Columbuses everywhere you look. Colonizers everywhere you look. Everybody wants to colonize each other. But when he went to Britain, he linked up with the punk groups. And that's where the punk rock groups. You remember the punk rock going back into the 70s it started, punk rock. He linked up with them. Not too long after that, they killed him. And it's not funny, but it's a great analogy. Not analogy, it's a great schema for when they kill. You know how we talk about like Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, where as long as they was out there being one of the blacks, fighting for the black people, they were fine with the system. Nobody wanted to kill them. But once they started working with the white folk, then you had a problem. Same thing with Bob Marley and Peter Tosh. So Peter Tosh and Bob Marley were both whalers. Peter Tosh separated out because Bob got too famous. And Peter was like the Malcolm X. He was like real aggressive, fight the system, fight the mob. But then Marley went the direction of punky reggae. He did the punky reggae and that killed him. Peter Tosh, when he linked up with the Rolling Stones, and I think it was Mick Jagger, then they killed him. See how this works? When the poor people get together, you got a problem. Keep the poor people apart is good. That's why I say, what did I post this week? I was trying to rile people up this weekend. I wasn't trying to rile people up, but I posted this weekend that white pie. Who yells white pie? The same people that yell black pie. The same people, the same exact people, the same exact your kings and your lords, because they know if they can keep the poor people fighting, they're good to go. And that's the danger of music, because music, it brings people together. They have something in common. Brings people together. Don't give me a sad face. Who gave me the sad face? There ain't no sad faces. It's Monday. It's Columbus Colonizer Day. Let's talk about the spoils. What we gonna do with the people we murdered, killed, and oppressed? All right, what we gonna do with the spoils from that? Anyway, I don't know what we're gonna talk about today. I just find Columbus Day very interesting. It's an interesting day for identifying hypocrisy and what's wrong with the planet. Columbus should have been a better human. He should have been John, but I think Columbus was exactly the brother he needed to be. I think he was exactly the brother he needed to be. Because I think, I look around me, John, I see Columbus everywhere. I see people trying to invade your personal space. I see a government that wants to invade your health and tell you what you can drink and eat and when you can drink and eat it. They want to run your personal life or they throw you in prison. You know, Graham Hancock said something deep. His talk was playing while I was getting this started. He was talking about how the war on drugs is actually a war on consciousness, right? He was talking about ayahuasca and how with ayahuasca, nobody's ever been addicted to it. Why? Because it makes you vomit, pee, poop, throw up, everything. That people who take it, there's something about it. I don't want to do drug talk, but there's something about it that makes you question yourself. It puts you in the shoes of other people, right? It puts you in the shoes somehow of people that you did things against, and it makes you question your ways. It makes you question your Columbus consciousness, right? And that the war on drugs is a war on consciousness. They made sure to get rid of the things that got people to expose them to deeper thoughts, to empathy and love and working together, the poor people coming together. But it's always a violation. Columbus is just a consciousness. I think how Christ is a consciousness. It's the exact opposite. They didn't threw Christ consciousness out. They had nothing to do with no Christ consciousness. They still call themselves Christians and Muslims, and maybe Buddha had some of it too, but they threw all that mess out. They don't have nothing to do with that. No. It's about colonization, robbing people and stealing what they got. And then arguing in politics over what we get to do with the resources that we stole from the whole planet. So I think Columbus was exactly the brother he needed to be. And I think the people today are exactly the people they need to be. I'm not trying to change the world. I'd love for the world to change, but I'm not going to change it. It's not my job. My job is to change me. I'm focused on me. If I do a decent job, like Susan and I were talking about that a minute ago. If you do a good job of changing yourself and other people look at you like, you know what? I think I should do that too. I think that maybe I should try to empathize a little more. I think I didn't do all my homework. Need to do more research. I'm in this group and I'm fighting and violating other people because we got more numbers in our group. We got more votes, so we can force you to do what we want to do. And it goes viral. Like the world changes overnight. You don't have to change it. All you got to do is change yourself. And if we do it right, then everybody's on board. All right. Good morning, everybody. He probably thought he was a good human. I know he thought he was good, Kim. I know he thought he was good. He was fighting for his indoctrination. He was fighting for the right to party on bones, right? Same thing we do today. We fight for the right to share the spoils of war and the countries we blow up and burn up and leave just rape victims everywhere, all over towns and traffic weapons. We do the same thing. I have no judgment for Christopher Columbus at all. At all. Columbus is a consciousness and we still have it. The question is, do we want to get rid of it or keep it? And the only way you get rid of it, you got to love people. You got to love people. You got to look out for people. You got to empathize with people. There's so much I want to say. I can't really say. So many secrets. The only thing I want to say is life is hard on people. In fact, Bob Marley said that, right? He said they made the world so hard that every day we're fighting. And that's all Columbus did. The world was so hard, he was fighting in his day, just like the Democrats and Republicans now. They just can't really see through the scams and the schemes, and that's why they got these fuggles going on. His followers were much worse. Verser I read. Well, I believe that, Christine. I mean, you have psychopaths at the top, and people who follow them, they'll believe in that schema, and they'll push through with it. The Columbuses, like the leaders, they just come up with the models and they're playing their role. But it's the people who come after them who really believe in it. Like the leaders of all these activist groups, the movements, they're moving nothing, right? They work with the powers to fight the side effects and they get great retirements on it. But the followers are always worse because the followers are just following. I think they tend to have less empathy. A lot of the leaders, they kind of know the damage that they do, and there might be limits to what they're willing to do. I don't know. I didn't really study Columbus that much. I just remember, Christine, from my childhood, that Columbus was a hero. That's all I knew. I knew Columbus was a hero, so it would indoctrinate me to cheer the Pentagon. It's interesting that the only people who get off for Columbus Day are state-funded government jobs and all the slaves who have to work. All the other slaves have to work. Yeah, some people are off, Susan. There's some people off, but it's that whole government model thing, right? This idea of governing, this idea of leaders, this idea that it's a good idea to let other people tell us what to do in our drawers, in our lives, and personal business, right? In our houses, and I guess there's like a little thing there maybe that, if you keep praising him as a hero, you get off on Columbus Day. There's probably a psychological endorphin hit. You hear the word Columbus, you feel good because you're off from work. I think they play us at that psychological level. I think they do. Supposedly it's called Indigenous People Day this year in DC. They'll only change that temporarily, not enough guts to change it permanently. Yeah, I've heard of Indigenous Day, Sharon. I prefer Columbus Consciousness Day myself. I appreciate all my Cherokee ancestors. But I prefer Columbus Consciousness Day. Because you know what? I'm going to be honest with you, Sharon. I really don't care about people who are dead. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't. I don't care about people who are dead. I don't. They're free. They're free. They're good. They're in another dimension. The energy's floating, spiritual, something. I don't know what the heaven, whatever it is. But I don't feel bad for people who are dead. I feel bad for me. Sharon, I feel bad for us. We're all alive, struggling right now, trying to figure this out, how to take care of each other, how to evolve and become sentient and find some empathy. I feel bad for us. I don't feel bad for them. So I prefer to call the day something that helps us today. That's why I like Columbus Consciousness Day, right? This idea that we've got this antichrist consciousness, this consciousness based in violence and robbing people and stealing their land and raping their children. We got a Pentagon. I think we should get rid of it. So I think we can take the day and make something positive out of it. But we have to apply it to the problems we have today, not back then. They're all dead and happy. We're all alive and struggling in slavery. In the future, people will probably think that we were horrible because of our society, how our society operates. Kim, they're gonna look back today and they say we were in the dark ages. They're gonna look back and see the dark ages and say, you know what? And they didn't figure the dark ages out and they got darker. We're not in the dark ages, we're in the dark ages. It is so dark, I don't even know. But you know what? It's always darkest before the dawn. That's why I think positive things are coming. I think things are changing. I've never seen this many people questioning the system in my life. I've never seen people starting to think about anarchism as a positive thing. Like, I've never seen this. Like, good things are happening. You know what Graham said? Graham Hancock, I was listening to him. He said that the pyramids are consciousness engines, right? I think I posted it this morning. He was talking about how the pyramids are consciousness engines. And I know, a lot of people who don't really, I think about things on multiple levels from multiple angles. They'll sit there and they say, no, the pyramid's an engine. It's an engine. It's a pile of rocks that the Egyptians built with sticks and stones and sleds and string. No, actually they didn't build it, but you can think about that how you want. But I think it is a consciousness engine from multiple perspectives. Not that aliens made it. Maybe they did, maybe they didn't. I don't know. I kind of think that they used some sort of technology that was lost and there might have been local people. I find it interesting that the pyramids are in the shape of Orion's belt. I think that's a hint. I think that's a star map. I think that's a hint to anybody who flies down and looks and says, oh, damn, this planet belongs to somebody that lives on that belt. That's what I kind of think. You know why I think that? I think that, then I don't want to get into the whole alien thing because I don't think aliens exist. I think there's always pagans around the corner, over the next sea, around the next corner, over the next planet. Life is all over everywhere. It always has been. There are no aliens. It's just life everywhere. We're always rediscovering people of different looks and shapes and sizes and colors and cultures, and just whatever's up there is just different. But think about a kid doing graffiti, right? When he does graffiti, what does he do? He tags it. This is mine. I did this. Think about someone who makes a cup. My friend made this cup. What did he do when he was done with it? He tagged the bottom. This is mine. Think about someone, an artist who paints a picture. When they're done with it, they sign it. Mine. Think about America. Think about Columbus. When he got here, what did he do? Took a flag stick. He stuck it in the ground and said, Britons, this is mine. We're always doing that. And so I think the pyramids are a consciousness engine, not from, I don't know, like I said, if aliens did anything with it, but from the perspective of there's something greater than us. I think the first step into consciousness is understanding that you're not alone. You've never been alone. We're all one. There's something significantly more powerful than what we are out there or in our ancient past. I think the pyramids are a consciousness engine, and I think that's where he was going with that statement. Everything is alien. That's right, Beaufont. Everything outside your skin is alien. That's it. and inside your skin is full of, like, what is it? Half of the cells in your skin aren't even yours. They're like, they're aliens. They're microbiology, fauna and fauna. They're not even human cells. Everything is alien. So I don't ask the questions anymore, Bo. Do aliens exist? Everything is alien. In discussion. Everything's an ecosystem, right? Just leave it at that. Kim said they point up, and I wonder why too. I mean, they made a crystal quartz. They say there was a crystal on top of the pyramid, so it could project consciousness. It could take Earth energy and project it in the atmosphere. I don't know anything about that, but anything's possible. All I know is we need to move forward. We need like seven, we need about 7 million pyramids. We need them all over the planet. We're not moving fast enough. I want us to move faster, but we've taken on this idea of violation, right? We've taken on, this is what I'm getting to with, this whole Columbus Consciousness Day, when all my friends who hate Christopher Columbus, but they love what Columbus stood for, all the ancestors of the oppressed and the colonized, they all standing up. But even, everyone looks back and they point at Chris and like, oh, he's a bad guy. But we're doing it today. We're doing it a lot better today, faster. We got whole black markets based on it. But it's this idea of violating other people. I think all violations are wrong. I think everybody's sovereign. You have no rights to tell anybody what to do, how to do it, where to do it, or when to get off. And that's the whole basis of this whole Columbus consciousness. People who hate Christopher Columbus, but they love everything he stood for. Everything. They're okay with everything he stood for, but they can't stand it because it makes them feel good about themselves. And that's so I expect all day to see people posting about how bad Christopher Columbus was and he's a colonizer. A lot of people from America in the West, I don't know about anybody else, but I know what we're up to is what we've always been up to. If you read, now if you don't read, then you have no idea what I'm talking about. The perfect deal is to demonize Columbus as a distraction, just more duality. Exactly, Mike, and that's the whole point. They demonize him, makes them feel good, then keep steaming on today with all the destruction and devastation they did. The Egyptians didn't fear death. It was the next journey and prepared for it. And I think that's the other thing, Susan. I think that the whole war on drugs, and again, I don't know anything really about the psychedelics. I've never done them, but I think the whole war on drugs is fear. If you can scare a human being, if you can give it a sense of fear, it'll keep working for you. It'll get into these forced labor economies and keep struggling. It'll fight next to it. It'll keep them wild, right? But if you actually stop fearing death and realize there is no death, you just transcend to something else, to transfer energy, then you're not actually fearful of it. You get a new body, or you reincarnate, or you fly around or something, but you damn sure don't get no virgins nowhere. I like that one, Susan. The whole, well, when you die, you can get a bunch of virgins. That is such a patriarchal, ridiculous concept that could not have come from any god anywhere. That is just a man projecting on what heaven is to get men to go fight a war for them. But that's what I do, whether it's the Quran or the Bible or the scripture. Anyway, I look for the manisms. That's a manism. Ain't no daggone virgin. How's a God gonna create women and you get to violate them in heaven? Why would God? No great God does that. That's man. That's the king wanted you to go murder some people and told you that you're gonna get a lot of sex if you die, and if you didn't die, you got to rape everybody. The same way it happens with American wars. People still trying to say we need to stay in Syria. That's another Columbus consciousness point. Right? What would Christopher Columbus do if he landed on the shores of Syria? Would he go home, or would he stay and protect the Kurds? I love the hypocrisy of today. It's such a beautiful thing. I love today. Death is a natural transition from form to formless. Exactly, John. And nobody should be scared of it. Nobody should be scared of it. Doesn't mean that you run to it, but you shouldn't be scared of it. You're not scared of dying, you can live your life. If you're scared, see this person scared to die right there. They want to die. If you're scared of dying, then you can be controlled. You do everything the king tells you to do. You'll be Columbus, you'll get in a boat, you'll go rob, murder, kill, destroy some people. We got to stop being scared. We got to stand up for each other. Your neighbor is you. And you got to be all sensing. And this is where I think we have to go with this, educate yourself, empathize with what you're finding out and the people who are probably most hurt from it, and keep doing it and just keep moving forward until you don't have any axes to grind. Like, I don't have any axes to grind with anybody anymore. Like, I don't know everything and I haven't empathized with everybody, but I've empathized enough to realize we're all being played. We're all being played. And until you stop having axes to grind with people, none of this gets fixed. You still got that Columbus violent consciousness that you need to go fight somebody else who's also born in a crazy model of a world, instead of just loving people that we actually make something decent and letting other people find out for themselves. Stop forcing other people. All right, I'm going to kind of look at the news. Let me see if any more comments in here. All right, there are a whole bunch of them, long comments. I can't read a whole ton of stuff in the morning. We're here for an experience. And I kind of think that, John. I think we're here for an experience. We're facing our present circumstances for a reason. We are part of that reason as much as dire consequences we reason. It's so early for both of them. Does your mind always do that, brother? Does it? It isn't a one-way street. Consciousness is infinitely symbiotic. But we like to hamstring reality unto linear constraints be awed. We have control issues. In parentheses, he put desire. Beaufort, I'm gonna be honest with you, I have no idea what you just said. It just makes my head hurt. I was focusing. I drank a cup and a half of coffee. I should be ready for both. I'm not ready for you. I'm gonna have to read that later. I'm gonna read the first sentence. That's what I'm gonna do. Because this brother's deep. If y'all don't follow Beaufort, you need to follow him. Sometimes a little hard. He got the hummingbirds. He like to post pictures of okra and stuff to try to get to me. But we're facing our present circumstances for a reason. Absolutely. We are part of that reason as much as the dire consequences we face are part of the reason. Yes, a lot of reasons. It just sounded like a Earth, Wind, and Fire record. Both the reasons why I shouldn't sing in the morning before coffee. We are facing things for a reason. What that reason is, I have no idea. I'm not going to convince you I have any idea. All I know is that we're here to learn something. We're here to experience something. And it has to be sustainable. It has to be done in a sustainable model. Because when I think about it, I think about a big G God. What is a big G God? It's some big thing in the sky that everybody claims to know that don't nobody know. But it likes sustainability, right? It likes ecosystem. It loves life. It has an affinity for life. It creates life everywhere, in lava, on the moon, on Mars. I think they discovered water on Mars again. They keep discovering water. They can discover some what they like to find. They found the blueberries and the building blocks of life, and it's just like there's life everywhere. There's life in nuclear power plants. There's whatever that God thing. It loves to create life. And to me, that tells me, so if you're a son of God, if you're a daughter of God, if you're a creation of God, and you're trying to mimic that God, you should be killing life. As much as possible, you want to mimic that God. I don't know the reasons that we're here, Beaufort. I wouldn't claim to even think I'm even close to it. But if we want to mimic the thing that has an affinity for life, we have to do less murdering of life. Whatever that means to you, then you go with that, you run, you find something out from that. But to me, it meant a lot of things. It meant I can't agree with you if you want to murder people and steal what they got. I can't agree with you if you want to drop bombs on kids' heads at weddings. I can't agree with you if you want to force people to tell them what to do with their body. I can't agree with you if you want to grab kids off the street and in the trailer parks or the ghettos or barrios or anywhere and throw them in your prisons. I can't agree with you. I can't agree with your group. Your group is a Columbus group. Your group is a political party that doesn't do any politics. They're murder ticks. That's all you do is you kill people, you rob them, and you argue with another group about what y'all get to do with the booty. And personally, I think y'all need to leave everybody's booty alone. That's what I think it's not your booty. That's what I think. I think Columbusisms and all this Columbus consciousness and getting people who know better in groups that are just doing pillaging and colonizing of other people for booty. I think they just need to leave everybody's booty alone. That's what I think. It's a pirate word. I'm not talking about booty. I'm talking about booty. Pirate booty. Y'all, you know what I'm talking about. Listening to you on YouTube because the stream runs smoothly here compared to Facebook. Oh, really? Well, you know what, Citizen Debs? Like I said, this is all temporary. Eventually, they're going to shut this thing off on YouTube. Because I'm not interested in, the narratives. I don't do narratives. I'm not interested in narratives. It's like with my kids. I did my best, and I probably failed, but I did my best. I did my best to give them my data, right? I did my best to give them my experiences with the question. I didn't give them my prejudices. I gave them my experiences, right? They didn't need my problems. They're going to have their own problems in their own generation. I tried to teach them everything I knew so that they would be better than me, but they wouldn't form their brain and wrap it around that data in a 1970s mindset, right? With 1970s problems. They're going to have 2019 and 2020. We're going to have some 2020 problems. We got big problems in 2020. But you see what I'm saying? So, freeing people, freeing the next generation. And that's what I think we should be focused on. So we're here for some sort of an experience. And speaking of that experience, we got to go take a look at the news. I didn't look at the news at all this weekend. It looks like we're still here. I got pop-ups all weekend, so there's a lot of crazy stuff I'm sure that was happening, but I wasn't really paying attention. I was enjoying my weekend. Did y'all enjoy your weekend? We got to look and see what the Columbuses are fighting over today. See what the Columbus monkeys, see what they have, what's on their plate for the day other than posting about how bad Columbus is and how wonderful they are. All right, let me bring this up. We'll jump over to the news. But Columbus is a consciousness. Uh-oh, I look froze. Nope, I froze, nope. All right, I thought they were gonna play with the feed today. Let's see what happens. All right, let's shrink that up. Put that to the back. Boom, boom, to the back, to the back, to the back. Let's take a look at the news and see what's in the old today. See what's in the struggle. U.S.-China trade war. War makes Maury's Hong Kong tweet explosive. Okay. U.S. trade war with Maury's Hong Kong tweet explosive. I guess somebody named Maury tweeted something. The adults and their adult toys. They're still solving the problems with children's toys. I don't know. We can look at that if y'all want to. I don't really care. Like I said, I don't do trade. Trade wars are good until everybody in your country has what they need, especially the children. You shouldn't be trading a damn thing to anybody else. International trade is about millionaires becoming billionaires, billionaires becoming trillionaires, and the poor people in those areas who can't compete with that staying right where they are. So I'm not interested in any sort of global trade until locally everybody has everything they need, and I think it's a foolish argument. Wall Street is an East India trading company. That's all Wall Street is. Wall Street is a black market. Everything on it is stolen, and it's just an East India trading market, East India company trading market. That's all it is. It's people who trade there. And listen, I used to play with stocks. Don't get me wrong. I'm not here to judge anybody, and I got a bank account, so I have probably stock somewhere doing something. The way all the money markets and all that stuff work, and how they invest your money without your permission. But it's a black market. I'm just not gonna lie about it. It's a black market. It's the East India trade. It's a market for the East India trading companies to trade on, right? So I don't have really any interest in that. I think war is bad. I think slavery is bad. I think colonization is bad. And I'm not gonna sit here and be okay with it because it's me now instead of people a couple thousand years ago. I haven't done any psychedelic drugs, but I must have sniffed something. Must be the nanoparticles in the air NASA spraying. But I came to the illusion, I came to the conclusion that these things are bad. They're not just bad because they happened to me or my people going back, and my people did it to my people, but it's bad as a principle. It's bad to kill people and rob them and rape their children. By the way, Barbarians is a great television show. If you do not watch it, you need to be watching it. Roman Empire, it's about the fall of the Roman Empire, how all the barbarians got together and began to fight Rome on all angles, all shapes and sizes. Women and children, everybody standing up against Rome. And that's what we need to do, but not with swords and bones in our noses, but with love and empathy. Change the world into something decent for the first time in the history of the human race, or change it back to something we left. What else we got? DHS security or SEC booed off stage. Lee Camp approves. What? Uh-oh, y'all booing DHS? Uh-oh, something's happening. I told you the consciousness is shifting and lifting.
Speaking of
What's this about?
Let me bring you Lee Camp. He's the host of
Brother Lee!
Tonight. And I think the word protest fits into your theme too, right?
It does. And I want to thank you for covering the important stories, because as we can see with all our mainstream media, it's nothing but impeachment 24/7. I mean, they basically tell you if you want to get the news, just print out a photo of Trump and glue it to your face. And that's all you need from here on out.
Our competitors are like, Ecuador?
Ecuador? What?
Is that in Asia?
Why would you? Do they have lots of oil? We shouldn't talk about them otherwise, really. really not important.
So true, though.
But
Bad, but true.
There's so much else going on tonight on Redacted Tonight. I talk about how the Secretary for the Department of Homeland Security, Kevin McAleenan, went to speak at Georgetown, and protesters stood up. Protesters unhappy with the way we're treating immigrants at the border, migrants, refugees, and they shouted him down, and he tried many times to speak, probably lasted about 7 minutes, and eventually just left. And for me, that's my Super Bowl. I was sitting there with the phone number one hand.
Yes!
I was having a blast. I painted my face.
But it almost seemed to me when I watched that video, by the way, that he probably could have challenged them a little bit and said, let's talk about this. He kind of exited real early. I think he's a bit of a wuss. I don't know.
Well, there's that aspect, but I think they do live in a bubble. They're not used to being questioned about these decisions, which are impacting so many human beings.
Right.
And it upsets them to have, they don't want to see it in their face.
Because we all know that a guy who just came to the United States not long ago and is making minimum wage, he's the problem.
Yeah.
He's why America's in its downfall. That guy.
Absolutely. Right? You couldn't have said it better myself. That is the real problem. And actually, speaking of inequality on Wall Street this week, there was another protest. Extinction Rebellion doused the bull in blood, and they did a die-in out there. And I don't know if that was the best place to do it, because I think the Wall Street bankers probably saw the bodies everywhere and thought, they're just the victims of our monetary policy.
Right.
So it's probably no big deal.
Let me ask, do you think a guy like, what's his name, McKinley?
McAleenan.
McKinley was a big guy, though. He was a president. No relation. Should a guy like that somehow be engaged so he can understand how stupid his policies are, or just shunned?
Well, I'm fine with people engaging him if that's how they want to do it, but I also, he was asking for them to be polite. Hey, be polite to me. It's like, there's no politeness in our policies. There's no gentility in our drone bombs falling overseas. Yeah. There's a way. Why do we have to be polite to you? Look, there's laws against violence. There's no laws against being rude. Let's be rude. That's what I say.
That's a Columbus consciousness. So should we be protesting how we treat people who come over the border, or should we be protesting the fact that there are borders? That's how my mind works. I'm not interested in the fact that the people coming over the border. I'm interested in the question of whether or not we should keep colonizers, elites, lines. They destroyed the world, they blew things up, and they drew lines around everything. I would be protesting if they, this is why I don't protest, this is why I don't protest, this is why I don't protest. I mouth test. I'll sit there and I'll rub my mouth. I'll talk about it, but I ain't going nowhere. Protest? Why would you protest how you treat people over the border? Have you ever talked to anybody who's lived in rural or urban America and how they're treated? You have any idea? See, this is what I'm saying. There's selective interest in how they empathize. You want to protest something important? Protest the fact that we don't act like we're one. Protest the fact that those people are our people. We're all the same people. We're all cousins. We blew up their countries and they don't want to stay there. Country shouldn't exist. So yeah, I thought for a minute that might have been interesting that they're booing Homeland Security, but they're not booing them for the right reasons. You need to boo them for the right reason.
Great perspective. That's why you're like the best. I know.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's like, that's why I'm crazy about you. I know. Almost as much as you are about me.
Having a love fest. Let's back it up. And I find it interesting that people are still talking impeachment. Like, you have no idea how the world works if you want to impeach Donald Trump. Like, that's just that. To me, that actually is what that's a statement of. I love people who want to impeach Donald Trump. Don't get me wrong. I love y'all. I do. But you're literally saying, I am an adult and I have no idea how the world works. I have no idea. I don't want that Columbus. I want a Columbus that looks different. The model requires colonization and destruction. And that's why they celebrate Columbus Consciousness Day, because they don't have any issue with anything other than the avatar. They believe in the guild of destruction and bombs and violation. They just want it to be someone friendly to them. So I guess they think that the corporations are going to give more resources to the things that they want to do with the booty. And I think we need an anti-booty day. That's what we need, anti-booty day. All right, let me see, 16,000 dead in the UK. What? The Brexit connection, 16,000 dead. They're killing people too? Britain, what y'all doing? Y'all over there killing our cousins over there too.
It is called an energy famine. People dying because they can't afford to pay their energy bills.
Oh, same model. I don't even know if we have to watch this. We already know this. People die all the time because of energy. They got the 5,000 patents that are top secret. Most they say are related to energy propulsion, and the U.S. government, British government, the Russian government, they all keep secret technology from people. People see UFOs, anti-gravity devices, whether it's Americans, Russians, some aliens, whatever, flying around, and nobody wants to talk about it. Politicians don't talk about it, and then people die because they need energy. This is well, to me, it's not news. It's important, but it's not new. It's old, but people do need to hear this. When you don't have power, you die. People dying in California right now who paid their taxes because their politicians turned their power off.
Sounds like something that happens in an underdeveloped country, right? No, this is happening in the UK, where it has recently been reported that 16,000 people died last winter because couldn't afford the heat.
And more are going to die. This is not something that happens in underdeveloped countries. It happens when you have a country that's pretending to be a country, but really it's a slave plantation and it's a colony owned by some elites that don't give two damns about the people who live within the borderlines that they drew. This is why I don't do borders. They figure they can starve people in that border. They can have war on drugs. They can tell them how to live, when to live, how to live. And when they die, it's not their fault. This is what happens when you actually have no say in your government. That's what it is. This is not a side effect of poverty. It's a side effect of stupidity. All right? Stupidity.
This may be the real story behind Brexit. And here to talk about this connection is former UK MP, George Galloway.
I like George.
I want to talk about Brexit, but I don't want to go right after Brexit because as Americans, we're so confused by this thing anyway. But there's something that everybody understands, whether they're an American or just a citizen of the planet Earth, and that is people who are suffering.
Story behind Brexit. I'm going to take a stab at this real quick. You can't have a cabal elite that runs the damn world. You can't have people stupid enough to give all the secrecy and power to government deceitfully, who claim to have the power to have propaganda acts, lie to them, starve their children, and make their citizens live underground and die all over London in tents and homeless. You actually can't have cabals and kingdoms on a planet where human beings need food, water, oxygen, and a place to lay their head at. That's what I think. That's what's behind Brexit. I mean, there'll be some very specific things for Brexit, UK, and that specific global elite control scheme. But at the end of the day, you don't have a right to tell anybody anything. You can't have power on a planet that has children. You cannot have anything that usurps power over those who have no power. You can't, the only purpose of power is to violate other people. That's the only reason you get in kingdoms and groups of anything bigger than a tribe, is because you want to abuse somebody. So to me, that's the story behind Brexit. But let's George give you specifics.
There's a brand new report out of England that says there's possibly as high as 16,000 people who literally have frozen to death because in England there seems to be some sort of energy poverty situation going on. Would you explain this to us? Take us through this, George.
Well, this is a tale of two cities, a tale of two countries, in fact. And you're right to link it to Brexit, which we will, I'm sure, come on to, because the people in Britain were invited in a referendum to say yay or nay to their personal status quo, to how life was like for them. And they took the opportunity of giving a great big raspberry to the people in power, the people who are unendingly in power, because since 1979 until 2019, we've been living under essentially the same socio-economic policies, whether the government was Labour or Conservative. And we do indeed have a situation where we've got money to burn setting other people's countries on fire, but not enough money to keep our old age pensioners warm in the wintertime.
George's getting it. George's getting it. This is true. It's a true story. True story all over the world. This is what banking empires do. This is what it looks like when people think that we the people run anything. They got endless money to bring heat all over the Middle East. They bring in heat all over Latin America, heat all over Africa. Anywhere they need some heat, at a wedding that drops some eviscerating bombs. They got heat to drop napalm all over the USS Liberty. They got heat to drop just everywhere. But when it comes to the citizen, we ain't got no heat. We're running out of heat. We don't have enough heat. It's a model. It is a model, and it's not a tale of two cities. It's a tale of just the old 7 billion dummies. That's what it's a tale of. It's not a tale of two cities. It's a tale of 7 billion dummies. 7 billion people who like heat in the cold, food in an empty belly, and water when they're thirsty. And they can all have all of that anytime they want. They just got to stop being in conflict with one another over what some powerful people say. That's all they got to do.
And thousands of them are dying. Food banks. We never had food banks. It's something the US had in the Great Depression, Hoovervilles and tent cities and so on.
All right, bank. I don't like the word. I'm sorry. I have an issue with it. Banks are just based in debt. See, I see food bank. All that to me it says is that you're not helping a man learn how to fish. You're giving him a fish. I just see control, because that's the whole purpose of a bank, right? Like, a bank is not a place to put your money. It's a bank is a place to keep money from people, right? They create debt, and that's how they create labor and create an economy, and not to do anything. Same thing with the food bank, right? They're not rolling out automated systems and growing food for people and sharing that with the people and showing them how to run the systems. They're giving people fish. They're not teaching people how to fish. They're giving them fish. Why? Control. That's the end of it. It's just control. When they control what you need and they can delegate out to you, they can get any behavior out of you they want. They've been doing this in Britain for a long time. You just starve people into war. There are wars coming, right? There are wars brewing. And how do you get people to go to war? You starve them. Just starve them and they'll go fight France, England, Britain. They'll fight themselves, they'll fight America, they'll fight Russia, they'll fight anybody for food. So I disagree with the whole idea of bank. Nothing should be banked, everything should be free. You have automated systems that can grow food for everybody. All you got to do is give them a little smartphone and some open source electronics and a Raspberry Pi. They can grow all the food that they need. You just need to help them to grow the food that they need. But we don't like that. We like banks, because when you bank things, you control people, and everything is about control and domination. Everybody wants to rule the world. Eileen, let me know if the sound is good. I turn the volume up on the video.
We've got all of that now, and we never had it before. We've got 1 million people eating regularly out of food banks. We've got children going to school without a breakfast, hungry, and that's affecting, of course, their mental development. In the past, the electricity, gas, all the utilities were owned by the government, owned by the public, and so people didn't get cut off when they ran into trouble with their bills, gas bills, electric bills. But nowadays, of course, all of that is privatized, and at the drop of a hat, your electricity is off and you can freeze to death so far as the utility company is concerned.
It is getting to me, because I was posting on that this weekend. Keeping this model of children being born in debt. Children being born in debt to kings and governments and lords and banks. It's the ridiculous thing I ever heard. It's the craziest thing I ever heard. Children, if y'all, anybody out there under 26, listen to me. Listen to me for a second. Life is a gift, all right? It is a gift. You don't owe anybody anything. You don't have to do anything for anyone, all right? It's your ignorant parents and the ignorant adults in this world who want to keep you being born into debt to people you'll never meet, who wouldn't even call you back if you text them. You don't owe anybody anything. Life is a gift. You should be free to go live your life. But these adults believe in their slavery. They believe in their Columbus consciousness, which is why they're celebrating today. They believe in you being enslaved with them. They're happy slaves. They've got the slave mind. But I mean, you gotta love them because they're indoctrinated into it. But it's this idea of keeping this model of keeping human children, babies, the only creature on this planet that are not born, thinking life is a gift, but life is a curse. So because it's a curse, if you don't go to school and get an education, get your indoctrination and get a job, you deserve to die. That is your price for being born on a planet. Do you know how evil that is to ask a creature that didn't even ask to be here? They didn't need to pay a debt back. Insanity, but it's the same thing all over the world. And that's why I say I love the internet. I think that they weren't ready for it. I think DARPA created it, but they really weren't ready for it. They weren't ready for everyone to start talking, realize that everybody's being played the same way in different countries by different people. It's not the right people, sorry. Take that away from you, that's stupid. Everybody's being played by look all over Africa, it's black people playing black people all over Africa. Look over at Ireland, Irish people playing Irish people all over Ireland. Look at Britain, Britain people play Britain people all over Britain. All right. We have a problem with a world that's based in control and domination. It's based in the violations of this Christopher Columbus consciousness that needs to go to hell away.
Add to that the 2008 crash and the long era now of austerity, well over a decade of austerity, with wages frozen equals people frozen, equals people hungry. We've got full employment, that's true, or as close to it as you can get nowadays, but that's because of the gig economy, the 0 hours economy. So just because people are listed as being...
Stop. Done. I don't need to see it anymore. It's the same model. I already know this. You know this too. This is how we're controlled as human farming. This is the farm right here. You see it? This is the plantation. I know it looks like a data center to you. It looks like an office. It's not. It is a slave plantation. These people are picking the cotton of today. They embrace enslavement, and they're a little higher than the people who are making these devices. The people making these devices are slaves. The people mining the minerals for them, it's all slavery. It's all slavery. It's forced labor. That is how this works. And in order to have people at the top who are doing good, you got to have all these people in the middle that have jobs. And then you have a bunch of people at the bottom. It's the Ponzi scheme. It's that pyramid Ponzi scheme. And the pointier, the top of that pyramid, not the consciousness pyramid, not the pyramid in Giza that's for consciousness. This is the pyramid that's for enslavement, destruction, and forcing people to want to fight to get to the top of that pyramid. The pointier it gets, the heavier the bottom gets, the further it pushes down. But I got something I got to tell you though. It doesn't go the way they think it goes. Human beings don't like to be in slavery. They don't like to be enslaved. And I know the elites actually think that this will go the way they think it can go. Unfortunately, it doesn't. We can't force them out of their position and we become them, nor can they force us to embrace this. Eventually, when you have enough oppressed people at the bottom, the same way the barbarians stand up in the Barbarian show on Hulu is the same exact way. They'll stand up to Rome and all these poor people will stand up to America. Is that Brother Mark? Brother Mark and Brother John, I tell you, them brothers are ready to go for the whole revolution thing, and that is the always eventual model. Why? Because humans, when you got enough of them oppressed, they will burn the entire world than stay in slavery. That's how that saying goes, right? Like I'd rather die free than live a slave. And they did their best to make slavery interesting. They made it fun. They made the carts fast, and they gave them sound systems. They made the shacks wall-to-wall carpeting, right? But it's still enslavement. You still don't get to choose. And if you don't get to choose, after a while, people get tired of that. Slavery is fun. We consent. Yes, it is, Ty. Apparently it is. But this is what I was saying earlier before you got here, Ty, is that, you know what? This is what people want. This is what people want. You can't change what people want. People want to continue to play the Columbus game. They want to continue to play the violation game. They want to continue to vibrate at that negative, dark energy level in robbing each other and stealing them and making a better life for themselves, right? And as long as the majority of people want that, who am I to say no to that? Right? Who am I to say no? They're about to run out and vote for the next colonizer 2020. Who am I to say no to that? I'm not here to say no to that. I'm just saying that I'm going to participate as little as possible in this little psychopathic game. I think it's stupid. Anyway, tanker attack. Let's say tanker attack with Israel push Saudi-Iran war. A tanker attack. Would Israel push a Saudi-Iran war? It's not even a question. You got the USS Liberty. Israel's going to push exactly what they need to push. They need people fighting over there because they want to keep that land. They don't want to give it back. They don't want to share. And the other people want it back. So they're going to push exactly what they're supposed to push. They've done it before. They're going to do it again. And they'll get America to do it because America doesn't own America. America has a Pentagon that's outsourced to billionaires. And one of those billionaires or trillionaires happens to be one of the central bankers. And they seem to love Israel. So of course they would. Right? It's, again, everything is Columbus consciousness. Erdogan, the EU, don't mess with me. Honestly, I don't even know who Erdogan is. It's in the back of my head. He's in Europe somewhere, leader something. I don't do leaders anymore, so I'm not really that interested in it. Jesse Ventura. Afghanistan is the biggest. Oh, we got to go there. We got to go there. That's all you had to say. Afghanistan is opiate because people still think we're over there fighting for freedom and democracy. They're using weather weapons to cause droughts and drug the population.
Come along for the ride.
Oh, see turkey? Okay, it's Thanksgiving. Y'all should eat it.
Yes.
Put them on the fryer.
Today, we discuss the 18th anniversary of the war in Afghanistan and whether the country's opium trade is fueling the opiate epidemic in America.
200,000
Sit
people
tight.
dead so far. It's called genocide. It's called treason. Using U.S. military.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Brigida Santos. For our first story
grow
today, we turn to
opioids.
Afghanistan. Monday marked the 18-year anniversary of combat operations there, making it the longest U.S. war in history. Researchers at Brown University estimate that the war has cost the United States $975 billion and killed 147,000 people.
So let me see. Let's measure this with California, right? So California, people have been dying for 18 years with no power. Yep, that's a thing. Longest U.S. war in history. This is the longest time that nobody's ever repaired the power grid or keep shooting people with the DEUs. What is it? The dastardly energy weaponology cost $975 billion. I wonder what it would cost to actually turn the power on for everybody around the world, huh? How much would it cost to make solar panels for everybody all over the world? I bet you it costs less than $975 billion. I bet you will, especially if you put it on like an automated assembly line. So power isn't the issue. This is always about killing and murdering people. 147,000 people killed. Yeah, I think it's like 200,000 died in the opioid crisis, but I think that's just in Afghanistan. So like people dying there, people dying here. So obviously it's not about the people here nor there. It's about the elites and the big corporations, which is why we're actually doing this.
38,000 of whom were civilians. The United Nations mission in Afghanistan reports that U.S. and its allied Afghan security forces have killed more civilians in the first half of 2019 than the Taliban. After 4 decades of conflict, diplomatic efforts to end America's military presence there are uncertain, and there's little hope for peace. Jesse, you've been a critic of this war from the very beginning.
Well, it's not about peace. This is about war, right? There's no diplomatic effort to end the war in Afghanistan. There's no political effort to end the war in Afghanistan. This is a business model, people. This is not a war. It is a business. You don't end profit unless you got something more profitable. You can't negotiate and vote a war out. This is about making money. That's the end of it. There are no demons in it. It's a psychopathic system of pharmaceutical industry. They like to make money. The war industry likes to make money. The water industry that's selling water all over Afghanistan because they're probably using the cloud cover devices to modify cloud cover from Iran, Afghanistan, like to sell water. Right? As long as they're selling, they're buying politicians. Why? To keep the wars going. Not just because they're a little crazy, but the whole point is just economics. There's no conspiracy theory there. They buy the politician to make sure that they stay in war. The politician wants a job. They got kids going to school. They got a car to pay for. They got a mortgage. So they take the money and they vote for the war. This is the problem with having a representative form of government. There's no diplomatic effort to stop any war, right? You don't use diplomacy to stop a business plan. This is purely a business plan. You got the Democrats fighting the Republicans. They actually think that they're not the same party. They think that they're not a part of the same Columbus initiatives. And so they want to stay in power. And those politicians will do anything they can to keep their party in power. They will lie, cheat, steal, turn the power off, whatever they got to do. They'll incarcerate endless amounts of people and genocide their own people. So of course, no, there's no diplomatic effort to end the war. It's a business plan. It's a model.
Beginning, what do you have to say now,
Get
18
him, Jesse.
years on?
Well, first of all, let's take it into perspective. I wasn't a critic of the Afghan war initially, right after 9/11, because we were led to believe that it was Osama bin Laden and these people from Afghanistan that attacked us that day. Well, so we went after them. But then a couple of things changed. First of all, look what they told us. They said 19 Islamic radicals armed with box cutters defeated our multi-billion-dollar air defense system, all while conspiring with a bearded guy in a cave in Afghanistan. That's what we were...
Well, seeing how you say it that way, Jesse. I love it when you say that. You know what? I have to play that sound clip. That's what I'm going to play that sound clip. Because people still actually believe that.
told that's what we went to war on. But then when you dig a little deeper, you have to ask the question, why was Russia in there in the 1980s? I could never figure that out until it became clear. I remember it was about 3 weeks after we went into Afghanistan. There was a small article in the Minneapolis paper that was buried about 4 or 5 pages in. And here's what it said. It said, huge vein of lithium discovered in Afghanistan.
See, all right, I was wrong. People got to admit, because you know what I was going to say? I was going to say coltan. I was going to say coltan, I was wrong, it's lithium. It's a business plan. It's always been a business plan. They need the minerals. The minerals, they need them for weapons of war. They need them for anti-gravitic devices. They need them for their UFOs and Space Force. And whoever knows what the hell these people are up to. They need them for the weather satellites LBJ told you about. But they're going to go murder a bunch of people and get those minerals cheap for corporations. They're going to use U.S. lives to do it. That's why I say it's treason. You cannot send somebody who signs a paper and says, I want to defend my country, and outsource them to corporations to go rob and kill other people and steal their minerals. All right. Listen to Jesse. This is what I'm telling you. It's a business plan. I was wrong. I was going to say coltan, but it's lithium. Listen to this man.
Now, what do they want us to believe? We didn't know about this vein of lithium when we went in there, that Afghanistan is hugely mineral rich, and that lithium is used for every computer and cell phone soon to be in the world. Now,
and you need to upgrade. So, and this is what I'm saying, Columbus. This is Columbus consciousness. Why? Because when you get your pop-up for Sprint, what do? You go upgrade. AT&T, iPhone, whatever, and you got the new one. Why do you think we go to war? Who do you think the corporations are selling this crap to? They're not selling it to anybody but you. Right? You see the commercial, you see people dancing on TV. Yeah, I got the new iPhone. I'm gonna go sit in the tent. And it ends up blowing people up, blowing children's arms off. Have you ever seen Afghanistan? They can't even make enough prosthetics because you keep upgrading your damn iPhone. Your phone should look like mine, should have cracks all in it. It should be limping. I traded my cell phone when I can't even do it anymore. Laptops, I still have my first laptops. And I'm not tooting my own horn or nothing like that. I'm just saying we are the reason they go to war. We buy their crap. You know what happens if you stop buying their crap? You know what happens when you stop upgrading your phone and buying the latest TV because you need to see the Philadelphia Eagles on an 87-inch TV? You know what happens when you stop buying that crap? They have nobody to sell it to. Well, that's not true. They'll sell it to Britain. They'll sell it to Africa. They'll sell it to somebody else because everybody's watching you in the West and they want your lifestyle. And if you don't buy it, they're going to go somewhere else. But the thing is, we need to remove ourselves from this Columbus consciousness, this idea that slavery and destruction and war is all a good thing. This idea that rape is a business model and sending weapons all over the planet to warlords that destroy entire towns with little girls in them is a good idea. So you could be like the person on a commercial with the good music and have the latest cell phone or small electronics.
Now they want me to believe some Marine was on recon or patrolling and tripped over this vein of lithium and we had no idea it was there. I don't buy that. No. There's reasons we went into Afghanistan and they weren't just because of 9/11. Now, 9/11 happened. If you believe that everything, and I don't believe everything on 9/11 today, I have a lot of unanswered questions about that infamous day.
Good point. What's your question? If I got questions on 9/11, we do a lot 9/11 minute for a minute. My biggest question on 9/11 is who turned off the phalanx systems? That's all I want to know. I want to know if because you got, first of all, I want to see the footage. All right, the Pentagon got cameras everywhere. You go up there and you pick your nose in front of the Pentagon, I bet you will be on YouTube. You will be on CNN. They got cameras at every angle. How come I haven't seen one picture of the airplane? Because Major General Stubberbein was right. There was no damn airplane. It was a missile, a bomb, or something else. He said it was a missile. I agree with him. All right, I go with him because he is a professional. He worked in what? He was an analyst in intelligence and whatever all of them big words is. He said it was a missile. I say it was a missile because I don't see no pictures, no footage, no Photoshop picture, no missile hitting it. Besides the fact, do you actually believe the Pentagon does not have a man with a bow and arrow on the top of it to defend it in case something happens? Of course, the Pentagon has at least a man with a bow and arrow to shoot a missile that's being fired at it. So there's a lot of good questions about 9/11. And 9/11 is the reason why you shouldn't vote to begin with. Like, we don't have to go through all the reasons why you shouldn't vote. Today, I'm not voting because of 9/11. Why? Because you're stupid. You actually believe in a government that claims to have they can keep secrets from you. That 3,000 people can die and not actually launch a real murder investigation. That 5 million people since have died and they still haven't launched a murder investigation. That's not a government you run. Those are colonizers and wardens that are keeping you in a prison, that are using your children in the military for murdering other people for resources from other countries and lying you into the next war. You don't vote for people who claim the authority to lie to you. That's stupid.
But looking back on the Afghan war now, and you look at how much money we've spent, how many people have been killed, how can we possibly say it's successful? And then you look at what followed, the invasion of Iraq, based on lies, upsetting the whole balance in the Middle East. And now we got Syria, we got troops in there, we're shooting rockets in there. Nobody's declared war on Syria. They're a sovereign nation.
Because it's not supposed to end, right? This isn't a war. These are business plans. The business is destabilizing ecosystems, destroying them. Unsustainability. Countries that don't have sustainability can't defend themselves. You can steal all the minerals you want. You can get great resources. You can put in corrupt governments, leaders on top of them, and get all the resources you want. It's the exact opposite of the Godism, whatever the God thing is. It's the opposite of the Christ consciousness, right? You know, it likes order, it likes ecosystem, it likes sustainability. You have a Pentagon and bankers that run it, and because it's been outsourced to bankers and corporations by your politicians. And so they make their money on destabilizing things. That's where the big money is, not in stable markets, but destabilizing markets, robbing, looting, shooting, and killing, stealing resources from other people, putting them on your black market called Wall Street, which is the East India Trading Company. So you can get your cell phone and it only costs $200.
Aren't we required to declare war on a country if we put military into that country and they're fighting? You're damn right we're supposed to. Everything is out of whack, and it all started with Afghanistan, which is still going on 18 years later for us, the Dems and the Repubs, to fulfill the needs of the military-industrial complex.
Right, because laws are for poor people. They're not for the lords, okay? Laws are for you, not for them. They can do anything they want to do. You cannot. This is why everyone's upset with the kids when they mimic the same activity at that level, at the geopolitical level, as they do on the street level. You get kids who claim they own the street and they're fighting other gangs. That's bad. But when you got political parties who claim they own other nations, they can blow them up and rob them, that's good. That's because it's Columbus Day. It's Columbus Consciousness Day. And as long as the elites and our betters do it, it's okay. But the laws that say that they can't do this don't apply to them. Why? Because you got a left that hates a right and a right that hates a left. And anytime you got a dual party scam running in the country, because this is a scam, there's no Democrats and Republicans. It's all the same group. It's all the same Christopher Columbusism. It means that the people get nothing. That's why I appreciate Jesse. And that's why I'm glad Jesse ain't the president. He's saying things that's truthful. If he were the president, he'd be saying exactly what Donald Trump is saying. He'd be saying exactly what Obama was saying. He'd be saying exactly what Bernie and any of the rest of your next Columbuses you put in it, because the system requires that they do this. Presidents have no power. When you put them in office, they're controlled. You're surrounding them by the 100 most powerful people in the world who work for the most powerful corporations that never take no for an answer. These corporations and people have killed presidents. They got away with 9/11. They got away with killing JFK. They got away with destroying and burning entire nations. Your Bernie Sanders is not going to stop that. Your Ocasio is not going to stop that. Your Biden is not going to stop that. Impeaching Trump is not going to stop that. None of them are going to actually stop that. Your Tulsi Gabbard is not going to stop that. The problem is you have a model you keep consenting to that requires the burning and looting of your cousins in another country and stealing their resources. You have become Christopher Columbus. That's the only model that's allowed.
The Afghanistan war has contributed to America's tanking reputation in global diplomacy. A survey released this year by the Pew Research Center reveals that 45% of global respondents now view American power and influence as a major threat to global security, including people from countries allied with the U.S. in South Korea, Mexico, and Japan.
Right.
There's also been a decline in shares of people who say they have confidence in the U.S. president to do the right thing in world affairs, and a downtick in people who have a favorable view of the United States. Their survey shows that the U.S. is now seen as a bigger threat to global prosperity and peace than China and Russia.
Because America has no control over itself. It is literally a psychopath that's flipping out, except for we don't have it in a padded room. He's just flipping out, and he's just a mass killer, and he's shooting up every country and blowing things up and tossing napalm everywhere. And the people are like, oh, this is good, this makes sense, but Christopher Columbus is bad, right? We are the opposite of national security, because people still believe this crap, and it boggles my mind. We need to do this in the interest of national security. Shut up. Do you know how to spell national or security? You know what neighborhood security is? The same thing national security is, right? When your neighbors are secure, what happens? When your neighbors are, this is why house values are low in the ghetto and the trailer parks, right? Because when the neighbors aren't secure, when you keep blowing them up, you keep lighting their house on fire, you keep burning their grass, you keep peeing in the rose bushes, they don't have food, they don't have jobs, you have neighborhood insecurity. And when your neighbors are insecure, they are going to rob you for your food, which they should, right? And so when you take care of your neighbors, you have neighborhood security. If America takes care of Venezuela, we have national security. If America feeds Mexico and ends its war on drugs, we have national security. If America feeds the Syrian people, the Kurds, and everybody who needs it, because we got the automated grow systems and robotics to look out for everybody, we have earth security. But when you have a psychopathic Pentagon called America, run by big banking Rothschild, Rockefellers, cabals, and two ignorant political parties that have no idea how the world works, you have instability everywhere, and everybody's insecure. Your neighbors aren't secure because they can't eat. They don't have any security. The kids, little girls are getting raped going to school in Honduras. Mass human migration. They're supposed to rob you. They're supposed to come for your border. They're supposed to try to kill you because you allowed your government to go after them. I was looking at this the other thing. I was thinking about water. I was watching something. They were talking about how anaerobic, bad water, dirty water kills more than gunmen, right? Kills more than guns. Everything always works together. Because why do people not drink clean water? Because you don't have a civilization anywhere on this planet that's not around clean water. All over Africa, all over Latin America, everywhere. Europe, they had clean water. Otherwise you wouldn't have a civilization. Someone's chasing them off the water. And why are they being chased off the water around the world? So you think about it like the number one weapons trafficker around the world right now is America. It's the Pentagon. And so who's chasing the people off the water? People with weapons. So most people are not only being killed by U.S. weapons, but they're being chased off the water by U.S. weapons and warlords given to them. So if most people die from a lack of clean water and being blown up by bombs, and it's all coming from America, hello, is anybody getting that we are not the good guys? It's not the good guys. No, it's not. You're not good. We are literally Christopher. No, we're not even Christopher Columbus. That's doing the brother wrong. That's doing no. Christopher Columbus was not this evil. Right? Christopher Columbus was a good man in comparison. He was a great man in comparison. Right? We are looting and burning the entire world. We are destabilizing entire continents. Chris only did it to one nation. Okay? Chris was a good guy. He was an angel and a saint compared to who we are today. But you want to vote in 2020, you know.
The U.S. government increasingly tries to solve problems with troops rather than diplomacy. Why should our leaders change course?
They can't change course.
Well, they should change course because we shouldn't fight every war that's out there to be fought. And you know, this isn't new news, Brigida.
No.
There was about 10 years ago, Gallup did the same type of poll. They went internationally and they asked the people, if you were attacked today, who do you feel the country would be who would attack you? And it was amazing. This was throughout the world. The United States had like 30-some% said it would be the United States. Second place was China, I think with 8%. So this has been going on now for over a decade. The United States is no longer looked at as this beacon of light, this beacon of hope out there. The majority of the world looks at us as the aggressor, and if there's going to be a war, they will be attacked probably by the United States of America. As a veteran, I hang my head in shame over that.
Exactly.
Since 2001, Afghanistan.
And you should. As the son of a veteran coming from a military family, I hold my head in shame. And I understand why Kaepernick would not want to pledge a flag. I know why he wants to take a knee. It's the same thing we do to poor kids, and the poor white kids too, all over this country, we do to other nations. We are a psychopathic system that does not care, and the entire world knows it. It's like going to a party, going to a club or something, and you look around the club and you see all like the normal people, and they're just having drinks and they're talking like, yay! You see America over in the corner kind of shaking and itching. I need lithium. I need coltan. I need oil. And he's got like a gun and knife and everything. And you just decide, okay, so if somebody starts killing everybody in here, who's it gonna be? That's what that poll was. And the Americans like, oh, it's gonna be, I don't know, the nice guy sitting over at the bar, minding his own business, eating the beer nuts named Iran. He's the bad guy. It's like, no. Oh, it's gonna be Venezuela, the lady over there standing on the wall, talking on the telephone. No, it's gonna be the crackhead. It's gonna be the one that just can't seem to get a sense of itself, and the people don't actually run the government. All right, I'm done with that. I can't look at that anymore. It's old news. I'll post a link. You can actually go watch the whole thing yourself. I have to begin my slavery day. I got to go get slavery on. The only thing I'm gonna say is, listen, happy Columbus Consciousness Day. Hopefully everybody enjoys their day and everyone feels better about themselves by posting how bad of a man Christopher Columbus is. Okay? Make yourself feel good today. You deserve a break today on Columbus Day. I think that was a McDonald's commercial or something. You deserve a break today from people telling you that you're Columbus. You're the good guys. All right? Let me do some comments. I'm going to get out of here. Are we done? But like I said, I'm not interested in changing anybody. This is the way the world is. This is the model of the world. Right now you have most people they're just in that psychopathic zone. They're in that spectrum. They can't smell their own poop. Their own poop doesn't stink, right? Their poop smell like roses. Their pigs don't know pigs stink. You got to get outside of that. You got to get outside of that mindset. Somebody said decolonize. Decolonize everything. Decolonize everything. If you got something in somebody else's thingy, if your thingy is in somebody else's thingy, you're wrong. You're a colonizer. You know what I'm saying? That's just the bottom line. You have no reason, you have no right to violate anybody else, let alone an entire nation of other people. Brainwash people, they are brainwashed, Kim, which is why I love them. You gotta love people to death. You love them, and that's the only way that hopefully they'll listen and they'll start to pay attention. But if we're too aggressive with them, then they don't listen. So you gotta accept that they're indoctrinated, they're brainwashed, but love them, because we all were there too, right? I thought we was democracy and freedom. I thought we was out there helping people. And I come to find out what we're doing. What? We are the number one weapon trafficker in the world. Nobody kills anyone more than malaria in America. What? Right? This is a nation under God and under what? We're a nation under Satan. We are under hell. Hell, you got hell. Hell is nice and got America underneath that. We have to get our country back. We got to take our land back. We got to take our republic back. We have to end this. You need a constitutional convention. I don't know. There's a lot of things you could do. Direct democracy, but one thing I sure ain't gonna do. I ain't voting for Christopher Columbus. I'm not voting for the Columbus consciousness. I'm not. I just can't do it. I'm not gonna tell you that that's the answer. I'm gonna tell you that's what I'm gonna do. I don't get to vote for rape. I don't get to vote for war. I don't get to vote for a model that will require that of anybody you put in there. I can't do it. I think Christopher Columbus was not a good guy. I think he was a guy in a time, and if the times were pleasant, he wouldn't have been that guy. So I see Christopher Columbus is all around me. They're gonna post all day long, how bad Christopher Columbus is. It's a shame. We could do better. Let me see. It's about peace. Yes, P-I-E-C-E, what Beaufont said, right? Because everybody wants a peace. Literally, everybody wants to get a peace. Ripping countries apart and stealing what they have. Yeah, the politicians can't survive off their salaries alone. No, they can't, Kim. They need great retirements. And the only way they do that is they get their foolish people fighting side effects. That's why no one ever talks about the root problems in politics. They always argue over the side effects. They get great retirements. The same way the leaders of all these movements get. You get people fighting over the side effects, not the root causes, then the leaders of all your movements, they get great retirements. Same thing with the politicians. The problem is the model. There's no demons. It's just the model. We have to stop supporting leadership. You don't need a leader. You're an adult. Pull your own diapers up. Change your own diaper. You don't need leaders. Bottom line. Let me see. Geez, the buying and selling of weather is a pretty freaky thought. When citizens can't afford to buy rain. Yeah, well, you know what, Jeannie? I think it is. I think it's going to that level. I mean, we're an oligarchy, right? We're an oligarchy. We have those satellites that determine cloud cover. Why in the world wouldn't they sell cloud covered satellites and sell that time to corporations that want to grow food? Chiquita Banana, right? If they would hire paramilitary groups to go in and kill thousands of people so they can get land in Colombia to have banana plantations, do you think they wouldn't buy the use of weather weapons to grow those bananas? Of course they would. As long as you got an American populace that doesn't care about anybody but themselves, it's going to happen. That's how corporatocracies and oligarchy works. If it makes profit, we're going to do it. And if you got a population that consistently votes for a government that claims the right to have secrets and act deceitful around every single corner, then the government's going to do it. And they're not the bad guys. They're supposed to do it. They're a power system. They are there to gain power. They get power from taking citizens' rights and murdering people. And as long as the population is okay with that, that's exactly what they're going to do. It always comes back to us. Yes, Patricia, Corbett has a great history on 9/11. If you haven't watched it, you need to watch it. Patricia will post the link. You need to do your homework. Do your homework, empathize. Research, read, empathize more, and keep going till you have no axes to grind. When you have no more axes to grind, then you know you're getting somewhere. You still got an axe to grind with somebody, then you haven't read enough. You haven't sensed enough. You haven't discovered your consciousness yet. The spice must flow. Beaufont, go on and get them. Go on and get them. The spice must flow. That's what it comes down to. Doom. The spice must flow. And as long as there's spice and somebody buying some spices, the spice will flow. As long as you have a supply, as long as you have a demand, there will be a supply. As long as you're buying your cell phones and small electronics and new cars and houses and bragging so you can post them on InstaChat, pictogram and all of that nonsense, acting like a child. As long as you're doing that and mad at past slavers, but you're okay with all the slavery today, then somebody's gonna be out there starting war and selling to you. That's just how it works. How it works. Let me see. Let me get down. We all know war is wrong, but we are dependent, so we have no choice. It will happen so long as we seek leaders. Absolutely, Ty. As long as we got a central point of failure and there's a demand, it's going to happen. People are still buying the crap, and they're buying from markets and Wall Street. They're investing in black markets. They're investing in the East India trading companies. Then, of course, they're posting goods and supplies they get from the East India trading companies all over the internet. And that's exactly what's going to happen. You can be anti-war all you want. They got all these pretty ladies, anti-war pretty. I'm against the war. You know, got nice dresses and skirts. Got the new cell phone and watches and everything. And a diamond necklace. Okay, I'm against you. Can be against the war all you want. As long as you got war goods on you, war is coming. It's just economics. Let me see. You bad mama jama. You bad mama jama. If you shot a missile down with a bow. Oh, well, Justin, I'm kind of joking, man. I'm saying the top of the Pentagon, we know they had the phalanx system, minimum. They probably had the phalanx system with lasers. Somebody went there and turned it off on the Pentagon. It's like, oh, what's the day? That's the day they're supposed to shoot the missile at the Pentagon, or I'm supposed to turn this button on. And he turned it off. You know, America is being looted, and none of what they say makes any damn sense. Everything is a false flag. Pentagon's purpose is to circumvent law by design. Absolutely, Ty, because it makes money, which means they're going to do it. You are profitable in this system. War will never end. Healthcare will never promote true health technology. will be lacking, etc. All because true progress infringes on profits. That's it, Kim. And as long as progress in people gaining sentience, people gaining consciousness is against profit, it will be banned. And that's why you have a war on drugs. And I agree with Graham Hancock. The whole war on drugs is about stopping people from discovering consciousness. There's some people who are evolving and they don't need psychedelics to get there, and cannabis, whatever else, and there are other people who do. But then again, if you allow people to treat their pain, they'll spend time thinking. And the last thing you want is a thinking populace. You don't want a thinking populace, you want a scared populace. As long as the populace is scared and they're scared of each other, you own them. You can run the plantation. I'm very amused by investment, in politicians. Yeah, Ty, it's amusing and it's really sick. It's like sending Columbus out and yeah, I'm investing in Christopher Columbus. He heard there's a new land called America. Let me see. They are part of it. Puppets. Yeah, they're all puppets, Lori. They're all puppets. It's the system that's the problem. 2 years ago, I was promoting Gabbard Ventura 2020. Then I heard her back down by Megan McStain on Assad. Oh yeah, right, because that's what they say, Patricia, is that Gabbard is pro-war in Syria, right? And it's just like, okay, so she's colonizer. Bottom line, okay, so what else do you want? Like, okay, so obviously this person is who they say they are, they like war. It's not about human life, it's about destroying things. Ignore the fact that she has a vagina, ignore the fact that he has a penis, grabs about whatever, it doesn't matter. They all believe in war. They all believe in robbing people. They all believe in rape and weapons trafficking and blowing things up, right? We need to discover real consciousness, and Christopher Columbus consciousness is not it. Profit and control are the threats. Yes, they are. Profit and control are the threats. As long as you threaten people, you have a slave colony. Keep moving forward. Clean water is so nice. It's like my favorite thing. Ty. Clean water is nice, but the problem with clean water, Ty, is when you have clean water, people, they do clean things. They think clearly. You don't want clean water. You want water with metals and toxins and things that give them Alzheimer's and screw up their brain, give them mental illness, because scared, sick people are very profitable. Healthy people are drinking clean water and organic food and got freedom and fresh air and no leaders, and their neighbors aren't controlling them, getting together and taking their rights because they got more votes. You know, when you have that, you can keep people in conflict. But when you have people who walk away, you can have an awful lot of liberty and freedom. Let me see. What good music. This business model is more than just a making money business model. Oh yes, definitely it's a lot more than just making money. There's a lot more that's going on where I think it is. I think it's far beyond money also. I don't know what it's always all about, but we know they print the money, so they don't really care about the money. I think they care about the power and control and probably the resources and the things that they make with that. They care about the AI and they care about power. You know, money's a temporary thing. It's like I told them before, Brenda, money's going away. Money's only purpose was to control human labor. That's the only reason they invented it, to make you a slave worldwide. And now they have robots. Robots don't want paychecks. Robots don't need health care, and they don't spend money, which means money is going away. Period. Whether we want it or not, money is going away. Money serves no purpose any longer. As long as they got robots to do it, you know, we have to figure us out, right? And we need to figure us out before they get rid of money, because people still need money to put food on the table. Let me see. They take way more than lousy money. Yes, they do. They take lives. They take everything. They take our sentience. They take our spirits. They take our soul. Absolutely. We've killed far more than greater than 20 million people, innocent people, since that September. Imagine the grief, sorrow, and resentment that we willingly cultivated. I agree with you, Miss T. I'm Miss Tree. I agree with you. I mean, they say 5 million since 9/11. I'm pretty sure it's been a lot more of that. When you think of the side effects of war and who else it affects where, and destabilizing human population, causing mass migrations and the people who die and all of that, all the devastation we've done on every single continent because we have no control over our government, but you got a lot of gaslit people who still thinks we do. It could be so much more, and we have no way of knowing. This is why you just leave people alone. Leave them alone. You have a representative form of government. You have a kill system. You have a kill system. You have an easily bribable central point of failure system where corporations can buy anything they need. Let me see. Keep trying to like this. I guess I'm bumped off all the platforms. Oh, they won't let you like it, Eileen? I know. I'm bad. I know I'm a bad slave. I'm Kunta. Eileen, I keep running off the plantation. I'm gonna keep running. They keep cutting my foot off. You can't like, share the video. That's what happens. But this is where we are. All understands energy way more than any of us. For some reason, they feed on the negative only in abundance. Positive energy can balance it out. Love is the strongest. Love is absolutely the strongest, Susan. That's why we can't let them turn us against each other. We have to keep moving forward. We have to keep loving each other. Love is not a cliche. You know, keep doing your homework, keep reading, keep researching, keep empathizing till you got love for everybody. When you got love for everybody and you just blame the system, then we know we got something to work with. Until then, it's just slaves fighting slaves, and I have no interest in being, you know, a slave. I'm a captive, but you don't have my mind. And you got my body, but you don't have my mind. I'm a captive, but you will never get a slave mind out of me. As Jack Sparrow said, human beings aren't commodities. The real Jack Sparrow had a better moral compass than many people today. Actually, you know, I agree with you, Diana. I agree with you. I'm a pirate. I'm all about the pirates. I agree with the pirates. The pirates were about freedom and destroying this massive control system. The pirates on the seas were like the barbarians to Rome, right? I'm against massive control systems that take a few people and put them power over the entire population. So anything that's against that, I'm for. Okay? So Jack Sparrow, as a pirate, was right. You cannot have control systems. You cannot have empires. You can't be against imperialism since the beginning of human history. And now that you are in that imperial country, be for it. That's called a hypocrite. That's called the Columbus consciousness. So happy Columbus Consciousness Day, everybody. Let's get out there and talk about how bad Christopher Columbus is and how good we all are. Anyways, Gerard, y'all, let's try to grow up. Get out of here. Back to slavery. Y'all have a great day. I'm out of here. Happy Monday. Bye-bye.